At 46 years old, I feel the freest I've ever felt. I'm living the best life I've ever lived. That's why people don't go to counseling. That's why people don't work on themselves. They just stay in this mode of disguising it or hiding it or just not really living but surviving. I mean, so we talked about it. It's hard to go work on yourself. It's hard to, once you show interest, then that means you got to dig in and you have to be real. You have to be authentic. And I think that's one of the hardest thing for people to do, because
Well,
being real and authentic, if you look up the definition of authenticity, being authentic is like you have to be true to yourself and be honest about it and be honest about it to others.
but if you don't even know who you are yet, it's very
Right. Yeah.
difficult
Uh-huh.
to be
Yeah.
authentic.
I go by, literally, I go by, these are my pillars that I go, is, first self-love. You have to learn how to love yourself. If you don't love yourself, you don't know your identity, you can't be authentic and you can't own it. Because people ask me, how are you so confident? How are you,
Sure.
if you look at your past and you look at all the shit you've overcome, well, first off, that past, we hide our past. I spent many years ashamed of it. If I was sitting at a table and people talked about, where did you grow up and what did your parents do, I would have removed myself immediately because I thought, I don't want to have this conversation. Oh God, this is going to be a Debbie Downer conversation. Like, I don't want to be the one. I'm not going to sit here and lie, but I'm just going to avoid it. But when I was able to talk about it, and it took healing to talk about it without crying at a dinner table or doing whatever. When I was able to talk about it, it allowed me, that's part of my identity. That's who I am. And then being authentic, which means being honest about it and being honest about it with others, that's what allowed me to relate to people and own it instead of hiding about it. And it all came from, I had to go back and dig. Like, there were parts I didn't love myself enough and I couldn't accept those things. That's why I kept digging and digging, like, well, there's got to be more. I got to be better. I got to be better. But until life really kicked my ass and stripped me down, it's probably like 4 years ago that I would say as an adult that I was at my, like, life literally just stripped everything from me.
What was happening?
Marriage, home, my kid went to college, even my damn dog died that I had for 15 years, all within like a 6-month time frame. Everything that I knew in my life was gone. And then on top of that, I always had lupus. Well, then whenever you go through, lupus is triggered by, it's an inflammation thing. That triggered, and my body went into like just days I could barely walk. I couldn't get out of bed. I mean, all of this like alone, and chemotherapy medication for the lupus. And then they were like, put me on hydrocodone. I mean, everything COVID hit, all my business was shut down. Everything that I knew and that I thought was my place was stripped from me. But when I look back at it now that I'm so free and so aware, I wasn't living at that time. I was merely just surviving. I was in a marriage that was not healthy, lived my life for everyone else but myself. When somebody said, what do you like? I don't know. I work and I take care of my family. And I couldn't even answer that. But if those things wouldn't have been taken from me when I felt like it was the end of the world, there's no way that I would be where I am today. At 46 years old, I feel the freest I've ever felt. I'm living the best life I've ever lived. Honestly, I kind of say that weird because I don't want to take from like my daughter, but it's just, I feel like I'm me now. I finally know who I am. And there's still parts that I mean, that's the other thing. Once we work on ourselves, it's a continued journey. Like, we can't just say, oh, I'm good now.
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be those little triggers. How do you maintain those and how do you keep them? And then other things may come up. But when I tell you I feel the best that I've ever felt, I feel so free and so open and just, I'm me now.
Hey, what's up? Thanks for checking out my videos here on the JESS Marshall YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe for sure. Hit that bell. Press that button to watch the next video. If you got a question you have about any of the topics I bring up in the videos, drop a question below, and we'll be sure to get an answer back to you ASAP. See you on the next one.